Are you chronically running late? Just a couple of minutes late to every meeting, 5 to 10 minutes late to every event, maybe even more. Maybe you're someone who shows up to things an hour late. If you are constantly late and you feel like you have tried everything and it's just, your fate to be late, well, I want you to stay tuned to today's episode because I'm going to be sharing with you four strategies that you can use, that you can implement right away in order to not be late anymore. Even if you are a person who always loses track of time, even if you're a person who has time blindness, I'm going to give you four strategies you can use right away so that you can stop being late. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Are you always running late, no matter what you try? Maybe your friends tell you the wrong time, 30 minutes earlier than is scheduled, in the hopes that you might actually get there at the correct time. You have every intention of being on time, but you're just overly optimistic about how long things will take. Or maybe you just lose track of time really, really easily. I mean, this is me 100%. So, first, if these things happen to you, you are not alone, right? This is not a moral failing. It's not a character failing, right? You're not alone. It happens. And second, maybe you don't actually care about being late and you find it annoying that others do care so much. And, if that is you and you're not worried about it, well, by all means, you don't need to listen to this. If you don't want to change anything, that is totally fine. Like, this is not a value judgment. But for those of us who are late and who don't want to be late anymore, I want to share some strategies with you. So, seriously, there's no judgment from me here. And I don't want you to judge yourself either, right? Because again, this is not like a character flaw. Much as some people will say that, well, if you're late, you must not respect other people's time. I can pretty much guarantee that you don't feel that way, right? You're not late because you don't respect other people. You're late for a number of other reasons that don't really have anything to do with that. And you just might be someone who needs a little bit of supportive structures in place to help you stay on time. And you know what? I use basically all of the supportive structures that I'm going to share with you here today on a regular basis so that I'm not late. And I don't feel bad about the fact that I have to use these at all. Now, maybe you won't need to use them all. Maybe you're better than me, right? But if you are someone who is constantly running late and you want to change it, you don't feel great about it, you would like to be on time, then I have four different strategies that you can try right away, right now. You can implement them as soon as you're done listening so that you can change your behavior around your lateness if you want to. So, one of them is just real simple. And this is to set a timer on your phone. And you might actually, like if you're around other people, you might tell the other person that you did this and why. Right. So let's say that you have a habit of letting your words get away from you and you find it difficult to end a meeting when the meeting needs to end. Right. And then you're always late to your next meeting. And then the person you were meeting with is late to their next meeting. Well, what you can do is just set a timer on your phone. And if you feel weird about this, right, tell whoever it is that you're meeting with that you're setting a timer so that you'll know when to start wrapping things up so that you can both be on time to whatever's next on your calendar. And then when that alarm goes off, you won't feel weird and awkward about it because you will have told the other person what you're doing. And this will be a great moment where you can laugh about it and you can be like, oh, there's the timer. I guess it's time for us to start wrapping up, right? So just use a timer. If the time is getting away from you, use a timer to help. Another thing that can really help, so strategy number two, is to block travel time into your calendar. So this is one that gets a lot of people, me included. If is that you have this sense of how long it'll take to get to some place, but you're not blocking that time on your calendar, and so other things come up, or you're not really even sure that you're not really aware that you need that time, etc. So you want to block more time than you need. And I literally mean that you're going to put a calendar appointment on your calendar around something where you need to be in person, like a doctor's appointment or whatever. You're going to write travel in there. And it's going to be busy on your calendar because you need to be in your car or on a bus or whatever getting to the place. We don't want to assume that we'll have enough time to get there. We want to kind of work backwards and make sure that we're including enough buffer for traffic, for public transit delays, for circling the block for parking. Depending on, where you live, this may require more or less time. So for me, I live in San Francisco. It's a city that is notoriously hard to find parking in. And so when I have to go somewhere, I'm always leaving at least 15 minutes for parking. And then I'm going to look and see, how much time is it going to take me to drive? And I'm also thinking, okay, I'll probably add another 10 minutes to that just in case. And so oftentimes that means that if Waze tells me it's going to take 20 minutes to get somewhere, then I am blocking 45 minutes on my calendar for travel time. And you may think, but isn't this a total waste of time? Because what if you show up and you're early? No, you just always have a book with you, right? Or rather, you always have your phone and email is on your phone. And if you get there early, you can just knock a few emails out. You can make sure that you're not wasting that time. I mean, maybe you could even use that time to, just relax for a few minutes, etc. But don't think of it as wasting time. Think of it as making sure that you have enough time for what you need. Okay. Strategy number 3. I want you to adjust the default meeting notifications on your calendar. So this is kind of a work one but it comes up all the time. And it's that, the calendar notifications on Outlook and on Google Calendar, they are annoyingly defaulted to like 10 or 15 minutes before the meeting. But that's a problem, right? Because when that meeting notification goes off and it's 10 minutes to the meeting, that's just enough time in your brain to do one more thing, right? And then you start doing that one more thing, and then you realize you're still late to this darn meeting because it took you more than the 10 minutes to do that thing. So instead, what you can do is you can go into the settings of your calendar and you can change the defaults of those meeting notifications. I like to have it be like 2 minutes before the next meeting. Maybe, 5 minutes, depending on what works for you, but 2 to 5 minutes, so that you have just enough time to wrap up what you're doing right now, or at least to kind of write down where you are and what you're doing right now, but not enough time critically to start something new. Because if you start something new, you're going to lose track of time and you're going to be late anyway. So change those calendar default meeting notifications. And then the last one that I'm going to share is around using a visual timer of some sort. So this can be a digital timer or it can be a physical timer. I actually have both. This is how much I need these things, but having some sort of a visual representation of time. So a visual timer is something where you can literally see the time moving backwards. So it's different than just like a digital clock. It is something where you have like a circle and you can see the clock there and you can see how much time is left for whatever you have to do, right? Having a visual representation of the time that you have left before you need to move on to something can be really, really helpful. So there are like physical timers. If you just go Google time timer or visual timer, you will find these different desk timers. I think they're like 10 or 15 bucks. I certainly have one of those on my desk. There's also an app version of this that someone turned me on to recently. It's called Time's Up. It's called the Time's Up app, Time's Up timer. And this is great because it sits literally, and you can make it sit in front of all the other windows on your computer. So for instance, I know when I'm coaching in a client session, I have a tendency to lose track of time because I'm, so involved in helping them with whatever is coming up for them. And so if I have this visual timer up in front of the Zoom window, they can't see it, but I can see it. And it helps me stay on time and on task so that they're not late and I'm not late. You can also, this is a really cool feature that has come out recently. If you're using Google Docs and if you use Google Docs for your agendas for meetings, you can add what's called a timer smart chip to your agendas. And this literally adds a countdown timer in your meeting's agenda items to help everyone stay on track. So that's another little tip that I have just recently learned about and started doing. But you can add that little smart chip timer into your documents so that everyone can see, how much time do we have left on a particular topic. So those are 4 strategies that you can use if you never want to be late again. And if you're still listening and you're one of those people who's like, I don't care about being late, I'm late and I don't care about it, I mean, that's fine too, right? And I love that you're still listening. Have you also got a strategy about how to not be late that I have missed? Like, is there something that helps you be on time? Because if so, I would love to hear about it. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.